Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. Hope you're doing well. I've got an absolute delight of a game for you today. Gothic. Or rather, it's Remake. Recently just released, this game is a beautiful remake, not remaster, of the original Gothic game that came out in 2001. This game was the epitome of retro game difficulty and charm. We're talking rough but thorough combat systems, quest lines that could be soft-locked by killing the wrong NPCs, and the ability to just throw a quest item into a bottomless pit. All the good stuff. God, I love it so much. And in the year of our Lord 2026, THQ Nordic has gone out of their way to recreate the Gothic 1 experience. So while it used to look like this, it now looks like this. I know, right? Talk about a glow-up. Now, for those of you who remember playing Gothic, don't worry. While the game definitely added some quality of life improvements and smoothed out many of the sharp edges of the original, the old-timey feel of the game is still here, and the atmosphere of the game is very much still dark fantasy. And spoiler alert, this game is fantastic. Easily one of the best games I've played this year. Which is why I can say with zero hesitation that I'm ecstatic that today's challenge run was suggested by the Gothic team itself. A big thanks to THQ Nordic for sponsoring today's video. As I mentioned earlier, the game is already out on Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. And if you like what you see today, you should absolutely give it a try. Link in the description and pinned comment. Can't recommend it enough. In fact, I had so much fun, I'm already plotting out how to do more challenge runs with it. So yeah, look forward to that in the future. But enough build up. As I mentioned earlier, this challenge was suggested by the Gothic team themselves, and they did not hold back. Because today, we're gonna find out. Can we beat the Gothic 1 remake with only a pickaxe? Story time! There's entire books worth of lore to munch down on with this game series, but I'll give you the abridged version. Too long didn't read, the kingdom is at war. The king of this land has been systematically wiping out his enemies, and has all but subjugated the people of this world to his will. All but one, the orcs. They are the last resisting force to the king and humankind's dominance of the land. And despite the king throwing everything he has at them, it's just not enough, which has made the king desperate for a solution. And so, the prison population of the land pays the price. The king needs swords, and the mines aren't gonna mine themselves. In fact, the laws have been altered so that nearly any offense seems to get you sent to the mines. And to make sure that everyone sticks to the program, the king and his mages created a barrier around the mining colony. A one-way barrier that lets living things enter, but not exit. The only problem with this plan was that it worked a bit too well. The magic backfired, and even the mages that cast the spell were trapped inside. And considering the prisoners outnumbered the guards, it didn't take long for them to take advantage of the situation. Now, the inmates run the colony. And since the king can't send more men in to remedy the situation without losing them behind the barrier, he's forced to negotiate with their terms. Supplies get sent down into the barrier every month, and platforms of ore come back out in return. And this is where our story begins. Just another nameless prisoner, we've been sentenced to the barrier for whatever crimes we may or may not have committed. But unlike the other prisoners, we have one thing that sets us apart. Before we're chucked unceremoniously into the barrier, a fire mage from the outside asks us to bring a letter to the mages inside the barrier. He says the mages inside will give us whatever we want for doing so. All we have to do is get it to them. And with that, we're pushed headfirst into adventure. Quite literally. Ugh, thank God I took swimming lessons as a kid. You'd think the fire mage would have sent me into the barrier a bit gentler, considering a wet message doesn't do anyone any good. Oh, hello there. Are you a fire mage? Guess not. And now that we've taken our lumps, we can officially start the run. We bump into Diego, who kindly explains that there are 3 groups of prisoners here in the colony. You've got Old Camp, which is where everyone started initially and still has some resemblance of law and order. New Camp, which consists of people who got tired of all the rules and now live under a much more loose system of rules and morals. And Swamp Camp, which is essentially a bunch of people who worship an alleged god they found inside the barrier and smoke swamp weed all day in an effort to enhance their connection to it. Which brings us to the key mechanics of Gothic. The colony factions all work independently of one another, and the politics between them can get a bit sticky at times. So it's vitally important that we recognize that whatever faction we end up choosing will affect how the other factions treat us. The other key mechanic is the dialogue system, because what you say matters. For example, me telling Diego here that I have a message from the fire mages quickly results in him telling me to keep that shit on the down low. He's not on good terms with the mages, so he has no use for it, but any other inmate in here would happily kill me for that message. Or more importantly, the reward they'd get for delivering it. And the game will give you the opportunity to tell people you have the letter. So yeah, be smart about what you say to people and how you say it. Words have consequences. No need to pick a faction right this instant though. What we really need is a weapon. The only weapon we'll ever be allowed to use. We need a pickaxe. And considering this is a mining colony, I can't imagine we'll have to go very far to find one. Ah, there we are. Exactly what the Challenge Run ordered. Requiring 5 strength to wield, it does 7 damage. No, there's no way to upgrade it, and yes, that's as bad as it sounds. You'll also notice it does edge damage. There are multiple damage types in Gothic, and some enemies are resistant to certain types. And while we'd normally be able to circumnavigate that problem by having multiple weapons, yeah, look forward to that being a problem later. But we've got smaller problems right now. The first enemy of the game, the mole rat. Time to see what this pickaxe can do. Well, hey, that's not terrible damage. Jesus, that rat just ate 25% of my health bar. Remember when I said this game was a remake of a retro game? Yeah, this is one of those old-timey parts I was talking about. In Gothic, you're supposed to be a nobody. You're not the hero, you're a prisoner. And as it turns out, getting bit by a rat the size of a dog kinda hurts. Oh hey, here's the weapon the game wanted me to use during this encounter. A rusty sword. And the basic tutorial sword does more damage than my pickaxe, and swings twice as fast. You know, I'm starting to think the devs knew what they were doing when they suggested this challenge run to me. I loot the entire area for anything of value, whether that be lockpicks, beer, or loose items and weapons, fight off multiple juvenile bone chickens, aka scavengers, which are both hilarious and terrifying. Because while these juveniles are no issue, their adult forms are something else entirely. And there's nothing more embarrassing than being murdered by a giant chicken. That's gonna happen a lot, by the way. But after leaving the starting zone, the game officially begins. Chapter 1, Welcome to the Colony. Almost immediately, I meet up with some new camp hunters who give me lots of advice about how to survive combat. And it's worthwhile, so I'll give you the condensed version. First, do your best to isolate enemies. Defending against one enemy is easy, but defending against a swarm of enemies will get you killed quick. Second, hit them before they hit you. If you hit them with the right type of swing, you might be able to get a stagger animation, which lets you wail on them before they can respond. And third, if you know how, you can harvest materials off of your kills. Materials that are very valuable to the people around here. But that kind of knowledge isn't free, so we'll have to hold off on that for now. That does lead into several systems that we need to talk about though. First of which being combat. When you pull out a weapon, your controls change. I used an Xbox controller, so for me, it works like this. Press Y to do an upward swing, A to swing down, X to swing from right to left, and B to swing from left to right. Feels a bit rough the first time you use it, but by the end of the game, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. You can also dodge, and it does have iframes, but it takes skill to use. Skill that I absolutely do not have. Did that wolf just one-shot me? So yeah, treat this like the retro games of old. Going somewhere you're not familiar with? Quick save. Going up against enemies that you aren't good at fighting yet? Should have quick saved before starting that fight, brother. That way, you can die on repeat to get some practice fighting that death chicken. And you will die on repeat, by the way, because Gothic does that wonderful thing where no area in the game is off limits, but only if you're good at the game, because enemies act as natural barriers. Try to go somewhere too early, and the enemies will put you in your place real quick. But if you're a persistent asshole like me, the rewards might be worth your time, whether that's acquiring late game items that trivialize the first chapters of the game, or in my case, just getting more XP and a deeper knowledge of how the game works. And now that we've leveled up, we need to talk about how that works in Gothic. Behold, the character page. A bit emptier than you were expecting, yeah? There are only 4 stats: health, strength, mana, and dexterity. Health goes up with every level, so that's all you need to know about that. Strength increases your melee damage, dexterity increases range damage and improves your stealth and stealing abilities, and mana increases your mana pool and what spells you can cast. We start with 10 strength, 10 dexterity, and 5 mana. These numbers can be raised to 100. Higher if you have certain equipment, but unlike other RPGs where we just get to put points into them, that's not how Gothic works. Because in this game, you need to find somebody to teach you skills. See the cost? That's learning points. And you get 10 learning points per level, which means you can increase 10 points worth of stats each level if you know who to talk to. Alternatively, you can learn a unique skill with your points instead, like lockpicking, pickpocketing, things of that nature. Though these sometimes cost money as well as skill points to acquire. Money that you can make by trading goods with the merchants. But this isn't Skyrim. If a merchant doesn't sell weapons, chances are he's not interested in buying them from you, or at the very least won't give you very much for them. Sell them to a weapon merchant instead for maximum profit, but not too many, because the merchants also adjust their prices depending on how much inventory they have. Try to sell them 50 swords, and they're gonna offer you less and less money for each one. Supply and demand, you understand. Merchants restock their cash and items daily, and bringing certain items from parts of the colony where they're plentiful to parts of the colony where they're hard to come by might mean huge profits. So there's plenty of nuance here if you want to become a master trader. But I'm not a master trader. I'm not a master anything. And because I have a feeling leveling up in this run is going to be rare, I'm gonna hold off on spending my learning points on stats. I'd much rather have some unique abilities. It's not like strength is gonna help me anyway. That's foreshadowing, by the way. No, I'm gonna save those points for learning how to be better at two-handed weapons. All these unwieldy, slow attack animations, that's because I'm not trained in two-hand combat. But if we find someone that can teach us how to use them properly, my animations will get smoother, we can do combos, and we can even parry and riposte. Huge improvements over what I'm doing right now. There's just one teensy tiny problem. See this here? This little footnote? Yep, that's gonna be a problem. Turns out, you can't learn two-handed weapon techniques until you've mastered one-handed combat. And while we can master one-handed combat early in the game, it costs us 200 ore and 20 learning points, which means we need a money source and one more level to even think about proper two-handed combat. Which is why we're saving our points and not putting them into strength. Yep, definitely the right choice. That's foreshadowing, by the way. Well, time to find a way to make money. I'm saving my learning points, so I can't spend them on learning how to harvest supplies from enemies, so instead, let's do some stealing. Oh, what fresh hell is this? Welcome to the lockpicking minigame. Make the lock pieces line up in a straight line, and the lock will open. Move a lock piece too far to the left or right, and your lockpick breaks. Simple. Except for the fact that each piece may or may not move another, which means experimenting with the order of operations. Now, as someone who's played this game for more than 24 hours, I'd like to make a public service announcement. My first reaction to this was horror. Some of these locks are insanely difficult, and while there are hundreds of chests to unlock around the colony, not all of them have stuff in them that's worth the sometimes minutes of messing with a lock. In fact, gamers were immediately upset because they weren't able to easily rob the entire colony blind, to the point where the devs put out a post pleading with players to consider putting points into lockpicking first before complaining. And you know what? They were right. Putting points into lockpicking made it way easier and more enjoyable. Much like everything else, I too spent a long time resisting putting points into lockpicking, relying on brute force and quick saves to get through them. But Gothic is very deliberate in how its skills work. Don't like how it feels to wield a sword? Upgrade your one-handed ability. Annoyed by how small the dodge is? Upgrade it. Keep getting caught pickpocket? You get it. Your character is a nobody with zero skills. And it'll feel like that until you learn that skill from someone who has more know-how than you. But I need my points for two-handed combat. So yeah, guess we're just gonna have to find another way to make some money. Something random trash I find isn't really bringing in the big bucks, so maybe we should focus on the storyline instead. Oh right, the letter. What's it say anyway? Let's see, something swamp god, something investigate and report, blah blah blah. Nothing useful here. Wait, where'd the letter go? Oh, I broke the seal. I'm sure that won't bite me in the ass later. I tried to bring the letter to the fire mages, but they're tucked away further into old camp, and the guards here won't let me through unless someone with enough sway will vouch for me, which we obviously don't have at the moment. Luckily, Diego here has said sway, but he won't endorse me unless I can prove myself to several members of his guild, the Shadows. So that's what we're going to spend the next few hours doing. But first, a new friend. Meet Mud. He's the first friendly face I've seen since being thrown into the colony.
So, where do you sleep? You can always sleep at my place if you like.
Maybe a bit too friendly, now that I think about it.
But someone like you would never hang around with a loony, right? Because if you did, people would have an natter. Now they'll finally know they were wrong about me. Maybe you like animals too much. Same as me. They hate that when someone really loves animals.
Oh no, I've made a mistake. Time to cut ties.
Piss off.
Want a moment to yourself, do ya?
Yeah, no, that didn't work. All right, time for desperate measures. Hey, buddy, I heard you like animals, so I brought you a giant lizard. Wait, where are you going? He's just trying to say hello. Hey, Mud. Muddy buddy, you forgot your lizard. Wonder where that path goes.
I wouldn't go down there if I were you.
Why?
That's orc territory down here. They'll fucking tear you to shreds.
Oh.
Well, thank goodness we didn't go that way. We could have been killed. Anyway, time to impress Diego's people. They have some relatively simple asks. One guy wants me to fight someone in the arena, another wants me to get a recipe from the swamp camp, and another wants me to steal a ring from a nearby house. Not exactly the most honorable jobs, but we are in a prison colony. Can't hold on to your morals too tightly, I guess. Best get started. I steal the ring with minimal issue and... Wait, who's just standing here watching me? Oh, for fuck's sake. Is that Mud? I thought I killed... I was so worried when you ran off. Alright, time for a side quest. Hey, Mud, why don't you go investigate that cave over there while I loot this body?
You know, you're my best mate in here. Everyone else only ever wants to get rid of me. I'm really grateful to you.
I bet. Anywho, here, hold this pickaxe for me. And there was much rejoicing. Well, that's over with. Now we can finally... Anyway, back to impressing the locals. This guy wants a sword, but has beef with the merchant. He gives me 100 nuggets to go buy it, which I could just go run off with, but I'm an honorable man. And naturally, the sword actually costs 110 nuggets. Fine, I'll pay that. But not before telling the buyer that I need an extra 10 nuggets. I'm not lawful stupid. You know, this would be a lot easier if I had a map of the place. I keep getting turned around. This town is huge. Ah, that's better. Huh, guess it's not nearly as big as I thought. But hey, now I can mark down where all the merchants and stuff are. That'll help in the future. Alright, what do you want? Find your buddy for you? Sure, why not? Yeah, he's dead. Killed by mole rats. Horrible way to go, I would know. Ooh, damn, but look at this amulet he had on him. +5 defense to edge and blunt. That's actually way bigger than it sounds, considering stats only normally go to 100. Hey, your buddy is dead. Sorry about that.
So you found anything on him? Like proof?
No.
No? That's a shame. Had you brought me something more solid, you'd have really impressed me. Such as, I don't know, an amulet?
Oh, I mean, yes. Here's this amulet I found.
Ah, memory can be such a tricky thing, can't it?
Ah, well. Goodbye, amulet. Wait, what am I doing? I could have just held on to that until I was done with the other quests. Lemon, you idiot! Oh, hey, found a way to make money with my challenge run. Turns out, if you go to the old camp mine just down the road, you can keep any ore that you mine. Granted, it's extremely slow and it offers diminishing returns, but free money is free money. I also found this hunk of a man out in the wilderness. He apparently only fights with his fists, and if we meet his requirements, he'll even show you how to fight with fists better. From one challenge runner to another, I salute you. I've got a few more tasks to do for Diego's boys, but I think it's time we made a stop at New Camp. They've got that whole Goron City thing going on, and are holed up inside a giant cave. There's a lot to do here, but we'll do that later, because I'm only here for one thing, acrobatics, which Buster here can teach us for the low, low price of 10 learning points and 60 ore.
Can acrobatics help me move faster?
No, that's nonsense.
Well played, devs. Well played. For those that don't know, speedrunners used acrobatics in the original Gothic to fly through the game. Turns out it was pretty broken. That said, it's pretty broken here too. By double tapping the dodge button, our sad little dodge becomes a full-blown dodge roll. And while it's probably not faster than just sprinting, it does make combat actually feasible now. Our swinging animations are still terrible, but now that we can dodge roll around enemies, I can finally put all of my Souls combat experience to use. Just dodge behind your target, then press the downward strike as soon as the roll animation ends. Just enough swinging distance to hit your target, just enough time to roll away. Works like a charm. And this brings me to my biggest revelation about fighting in Gothic. It's all about practice. Enemies only have about 3 to 5 attack animations each, and you can sometimes manipulate them into using certain attacks if you stay the right distance away from them. Figure out how to manipulate them and memorize the timing of their attacks, and you can guarantee you'll kill an enemy relatively unscathed. Now, obviously this rule gets a bit muddy if you get swarmed, but even then we might be able to outwit enemy groups with the right timing. It also doesn't work so well against certain enemy types, like the wolf. Its attacks are just a bit too quick, and my damage is too low. But that's where upgrading our two-handed skill, and more importantly learning how to parry and riposte, will come in handy. But until then, let's use this concept to clear that arena fight I need to go do for Diego. Karim here has a few animations we can take advantage of. When he does a downward swing combo, or when he does his 3-swing combo, he leaves himself open just long enough for me to step up to him and get in a downward swing. Now, does it do a lot of damage? No, but none of my attacks do. And more importantly, it's consistent, and that's what we need right now. But like I said before, it's all about timing. Move in for the strike too slowly, and he'll have time to hit back. And one hit is all it takes to ruin an attempt and set us back to square one. But Lemon, I hear you cry. Your health is so low, why not just heal up? Oh, you thought? You fucking thought? Apparently, I could have asked to fight one of the other dudes in the lineup outside. This guy is one of the top fighters I could have fought against. Bit of an oopsie on my part, considering how piss poor my fighting abilities are. But I am nothing if not persistent, and after over an hour of trial and error, I eventually bring Karim to his knees. One more Diego quest to go, picking up that recipe from the swamp camp. Ooh, what are you? Lives up to the name. So this is the swamp camp, huh? Looks nice. Shame about the death cult stuff. This place is absolutely massive though. There's signs around to keep you from getting too lost, but joke's on you, game. I can't read. What do you mean they're pictures? The people here are friendly though, way more than the other camps, and they hand out 3 rolls of swamp weed a day for free. What's the catch? Oh, right, the death cult. But hey, at least it's super easy to manipulate everyone here.
Are you okay? You sound confused.
Oh, I do? I'm sorry.
Do you know where Colum keeps his recipes?
Why do you ask?
Just curious.
His chest. That's where he keeps them.
Huh, that was easy. After using my 18 charisma on his apprentice, I just came back to the house after everyone was asleep, and there you go. Recipe acquired. Considering the guy I'm stealing from is a head honcho, you'd think he would have more security, but yeah, wasn't an issue. After that, it's as simple as going back to Old Camp, selling all the free drugs I got for a profit, using said drug money to buy a bigger and better map of the entire colony, and finally become a master at one-handed techniques. No, not those. Get your head out of the gutter. And with all of Diego's boys taken care of, Diego himself gives me a task. Go to the old mine and get the supply order from the leader down there. Simple enough, really. I may not be good at fighting, but I'm great at doing deliveries. And with that done, there's only one last requirement. Get to level 5, which means a whole lot of awkward swinging and stabbing at anything with ill intentions outside of the camps. Now, here's the thing about grinding out enemies. Unlike other games where the enemies respawn after a day or two, Gothic enemies never respawn. Which means if you clear out a path, you get the joy of watching their bodies rot in the sun every time you walk past. Great news for navigation, not so great if you were hoping to just farm baby's first death chickens until you leveled up. The only time more enemies will appear is if you reach a new chapter. But don't get it twisted. Enemies you don't clear don't despawn at the next chapter, which means if you leave an area alone for several chapters, you might be looking at a swarm of enemies in that location at the end of the game. Sounds like a problem for future Lemon though, because for now, Diego has given me his seal of approval, and I can now tell Thoris to let me into the castle proper. I also compliment Thoris on his armor, and tell him I want some too. And I can have some, if I join the Wardens. Definitely a long-term goal, but one we'll be working on occasionally in the background. For example, Thoris wants us to remove the new camp merchant who's taken up shop in town. It'll look bad if a warden does it, but I'm not associated with anyone, so it's just a backstreet brawl as far as anyone else is concerned. Luckily for us, humanoids who use one-handed weapons all seem to have the same moveset, which means I already know how to abuse his pattern. Now we will lose a merchant because of this, which means one less way to get money for my loot, but if it means I get to wear plate armor, I'm here for it. Anyway, back to the main quest. I get to see Gomez, the leader of Old Camp, and he asked me to tell him why I'm useful.
I got around a bit. I know people in all the camps.
That's actually a good reason. Who do you know?
Ah, crap, I forget who's who. Iberian?
Iberian. He wouldn't waste his time with a freshie like you, which means you lied to me, and that you seem to think I'm an idiot. That's disappointing, and I hate being disappointed.
Oh, wait, that wasn't Iberian, that was Kol Kalam. My bad, silly mistake. Could have happened to— Oh god, my face! Second time around, I don't accidentally lie, and Gomez decides I know enough people to be useful to him. And with that, I've joined Old Camp, the Shadows, I'm finally given some new armor, and I received my next quest, to go visit the spy in Swamp Camp for any intel he's gathered. And we've also finally hit a new chapter. Chapter 2, The Minecrawler's Nest. That doesn't sound ominous at all. Our new armor isn't amazing, but it's more armor than we had originally. What's more, it can be upgraded. Armor in this game comes in 3 pieces. The different upgrade paths increase different defenses, so when you're upgrading, make sure to pick whichever type of damage you struggle with the most. Hope you have a source of income though, because these babies are pricey. And while we could get some upgrades now, I think I'm just going to hold on to my cash for the Warden armor instead. It's not like we won't join them for several hours or anything. That's foreshadowing, by the way. Oh hey, a random cave. Wait, what's that noise? It was at this point that he knew. He fucked up. I was told to be discreet when meeting our informant, so I lie to the local guards and say I need to talk to him about his drug money debts, which they immediately believe. And after visiting the informant's house, I find a sketch of an abandoned mine. And considering the other cultists have been saying that he's been acting strange lately, something tells me that this is where we'll find him. And after getting lost and bumping into the edge of the colony, which looks breathtaking by the way, I eventually find my way to the mine shaft the informant disappeared inside of. And naturally, the mine is a complete death trap. We're talking minecrawler spiders, which take basically no damage from my pickaxe, super cool and good. Swimming puzzles, which aren't bad, but do get a bit tense due to the fact that I opted not to get the diving skill upgrade. And jumping puzzles, complete with more spiders that make me panic and fall to my death a bunch. This is going well, but after retrieving a winch from the bottom of the mine and using it to progress even deeper into the depths, I eventually arrive at what appears to be an abandoned temple. Yep, something tells me this is the place. What's this, healing and mana potions littering the floor? Yeah, this is the spot all right. And I'm not disappointed, because at the end of the temple is a mini-boss, an undead orc, guarding what appears to be the informant's body. Alright buddy, you better back off, I don't want to hurt you. Okay, new plan. Diplomacy may have failed, but what about brute strength? Okay, third time's the charm. Brute strength may have failed, but what about cunning and dexterity? Oh shit, that actually worked. Loot the body, and there we go. Problem solved. Even better news, once I run out of the room, the undead orc doesn't follow me. Absolute success. Oh wait, did I say success? I meant failure. Because wouldn't you know it, in order to complete the quest, I need an item that the orc has. And there's only one way to get that. So, here's the strategy. Wait for the triple attack. Then, once he's finished doing that, move in and give him the old downward swing. Rinse and repeat for like 10 minutes straight. Oh, and don't get hit. He'll one-shot you. In case it wasn't abundantly clear, the problem here is not that the game is too hard. It's my build. Not only am I using a joke weapon, but I have severely misallocated my learning points. Judging by the fact that I'm able to find an opening to attack enemies even without proper weapon training, I probably should have realized that putting points into strength would have been a better use of my time. But don't worry, I'm sure I'll recognize that. Yeah, no, fat chance on that one. But hey, got the quest item. And after bringing it back to Kor Kalam, he informs me that the amulet is pulsing with the Sleeper's magic, the god that the cultists claim to have found and are currently worshipping. Kor Kalam says something about this all being the Sleeper's will, yada yada yada, and I'm given permission to meet with Iberian, the leader of the swamp camp. Iberian says that this amulet will let me interact with the focus stones, magic stones that appeared when the barrier was raised. The stones themselves have mini barriers around them that kill anyone who interacts with them, but Iberian thinks the amulet would change that. And with the guidance of one of the cultists, I find my way to the focus stone and give it a try.
Did it work? I feel like it didn't work.
Oh, good, it did. Unfortunately, though, the focus stone seems to have corrupted the cultists.
Oh, no. This isn't right. This isn't fair. I'm the most promising novice of the camp, so it should be me!
Yep, we're definitely dealing with a one-ring situation here. No bueno. Thankfully, Nearest here isn't exactly a professional warrior, so fighting him is nothing we haven't done before. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, when you beat a human, you have the option to kill them or just rob them. Considering this guy wasn't a bad fella until he took the focus stone, I choose just to take all of his earthly belongings rather than kill him. And good thing, too. Turns out he doesn't even remember attacking me. Good deed complete. Morality wins again. I give Iberian the focus stone and tell him about what happened, even going so far as to suggest that maybe the sleeper was the one behind what happened. But Iberian is very quick to deny that one and blames it on the barrier magic. Alright, pal. Whatever you say. Moving right along, Iberian asked me to help out one of his guys, Talus, who was supposed to get a magic book from the fire mages at Old Camp Castle. Looks like he's struggling to get past Thoris. Not a problem for little old me, though. Actually, now that I think about it, I haven't ever been back here. What's the deal with all this magic stuff? Oh, so that's how it works. Looks like there's two forms of magic. Runes, which can be cast repeatedly, and scrolls, which are a one-time use. Let's see, healing, cast light, firebolt, transform into scavenger, just the usual. Wait, what? Alright, hold up. I'll reload a save as soon as I'm done, but I gotta check this out. Is
it supposed to hurt this much?
Whoa, you full on get to be an enemy. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, wait, do the other NPCs know I'm me? I guess that answers that. Note to self, transform spells are great until they aren't. Still, can't wait until I do a magic-only run. The magic in this game seems pretty fucking cool. But before we go back to swinging a pickaxe for the rest of the run, let me just try one more thing. There's a spell that transforms you into a meat bug. It has no attacks and moves as slow as molasses, but unless I've missed my mark, NPCs don't pay them any mind when they're around. Ooh, perspective change. Love it. And just like that, we're in. The NPCs would have gotten very upset at me had I tried to walk in here as a fleshy meat bag, but as a meat bug, they don't even notice I exist. Ta-da! I broke into your house! Shit, I finally hand off the letter I had from the beginning of the game to a fire mage, and said fire mage tells me that the magic book I'm looking for was stolen from him by some goblins about a month ago. Great, I'm awesome at fighting those.
I've never killed one of those before.
But they don't need to know that. And besides, it's time I got a reward for delivering that deftly sealed letter. Ooh, Ring of Strength! Ring of Strength! And just like that, my strength increases. Only by 5, mind you, but that's still half a level's worth. Let's see how that extra strength fares against a goblin. Oh, it doesn't. Well, this just went from bad to worse. Wait, what are you doing? Is that a rock? Right, plan B. Run like hell and pray to God the book is just sitting out in the open. God, there's a lot of goblins in here. Did you know? Goblins are short, and shorties can't climb ledges, which means I can clamber my way out of danger near the end of the cave. Then it's just a matter of waiting for them to lose interest, sneak over and steal the book out of the nearby chest, then leg it back out of the cave. And after sprinting across the bridge to freedom and watching Talus use intimidation on the remaining goblins who tried to follow me, that's the magic book quest complete. Well done, Talus. I'll be sure to mention how brave you were. Stupid, but brave. I give the book to Kor Kalam, get some learning points for my troubles, and get told that my next task is to go to the old mine to hunt some mine crawlers. Oh, I remember those. This is gonna end badly, isn't it?
That sounds like it's gonna be a bloody job.
Just say you need healing potions.
It's a little thing, but I love how self-aware the NPCs are sometimes. Oh look, these ones are bigger than the ones that murdered me earlier. That probably means they're easier, right? Guys? Hello? Well, you know what they say. When stuck between a rock and a hard place, let the NPCs do all the heavy lifting. And despite it almost killing them, these two bozos with their actual two-handed weapons were able to clear out a small cave of mine crawlers for me. Thanks, gents. Don't go too far now. I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So, slight problem. Part of this quest involves getting a cog from that pit over there. A pit which is filled with crawlers and no friendly NPCs. What's the plan? As if you had to ask. Cook and book!
Die and lie!
Alright, it took a few dozen tries, but we got it. I snatch up the cog, run to the farthest corner of the pit, then dodge past the crawlers and sprint back to the ladder, making it on and up just in time. No munchies for you today, my boy. And with that settled, it's time to talk to the cultist down here.
Who? Oh. You just show up everywhere these days, don't you?
I get around. Long story short, the cultists want to open up a collapsed tunnel in the mine. They think there's a crawler nest inside, and they collect crawler mandibles for their ichor. An ichor that they mix with swampweed for one hell of a drug trip. Sorry, vision experience. Forgot the lingo. Unfortunately, the shadow who asked me to find the cog reneged on his promise to allow me to open the tunnel, so we're gonna have to go around him on this one. Right to Diego, who it turns out has friends in every camp. Didn't realize I was joining the A-team.
Long story short, we have an idea how to clear that rubble without 100 diggers. I'm all ears.
We're gonna blow it up.
Say again.
You heard him. Man wants us to blow something up. Stop asking questions. Let me just put this here. There we are. And now I say the magic words.
In ignis conformimus.
Well, that definitely worked. Oh, right. The nest. Ooh, sorry. I'd love to help, but my sciatica is flaring up. All that running around between camps. You understand. And after watching several NPCs bite the dust and gaining a much-deserved level up, it's time to go deeper into the nest. And the NPCs refuse to enter the nest with me. Well, this just went from bad to worse. Right. Why don't we just skip to plan B and leg it? Which works surprisingly well. Of course, that doesn't help me much with the Minecrawler Queen, but progress is progress. Alright, if I remember the original game, the Minecrawler eggs we're after should be all around. Oh, okay, she spits now. That's new. Well, that's alright. I'm only here for the eggs anyway. Oh, you can't just grab the eggs now. That's new too. The hell, and Minecrawler nymphs spawn during the fight now? This fight is way harder than the original, which means we need to do some real outside-the-box thinking here. First off, the nymphs. They're very quick and incredibly hard to kill without taking some chip damage. I've got a large amount of healing food and potions with me, so as long as the spawns aren't infinite, we should be fine. And considering the crawlers drop an item worth money, I'm gonna hazard a guess that the devs didn't accidentally make an infinite money machine here. And from what I can tell, I was correct. Granted, I had to kill like 20 of the damn things, but they did stop spawning eventually, which meant that I could then slowly, painfully chip away at the Minecrawler Queen's health bar. The rhythm is simple. Get in close and dodge away when she swipes at you, then wait for her to spit at you and dodge in close again. Get in a single hit, then repeat the process. Only takes fucking forever! But don't worry, after half of an eternity, she'll break free of her egg sac, a la Alien 2, and retreat further into the nest. That's right, yet another change from the original game. As much of a pain as this fight has been, I'm glad they didn't just make it a boring slugfest. Still can't grab the eggs though, so we've still got half a boss to kill. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where I hit a brick wall. Not only do her attacks delete my health bar, but she's now faster and more aggressive. And considering we do minuscule chip damage, I'm not sure this is possible in our current condition. But nobody said we couldn't improve. In fact, I've got a number of learning points in my pocket that say otherwise. 60 in fact. And considering we still can't unlock two-handed weapon mastery, and the run is dead if we can't push on, I guess it's time to jump from 10 strength to 70. 75 if you had my ring. Do you feel that? That's the winds of change. I think we may have just done something important. Well, only one way to find out. Holy shit, was that a one-shot? There's no way. Surely that was a critical hit or something. Oh my god. Oh my god! Do you mean to tell me I've been able to one-shot enemies this entire time? I've been struggle bussing for hours. Are you kidding me right now?
Unlimited power!
Well, okay, not unlimited. Swarms are definitely still a problem. But Sleeper be praised, this changes everything. Suddenly, what was once an impossible brick wall is now a boss fight that I just need to solve. If I can just figure out how to get about 10 rotations, we can win this. Maybe less if I can get multiple swings in. And after a few more tries, we've done it. Simply dodge past her forearm swing attacks, hit her twice in the thorax, dodge away from the body slam, rinse and repeat. It won't be super clean, since nymphs start spawning for this phase as well, but if we stay focused on the queen, it won't matter. And just like that, our pickaxe breaks through the brick wall, and Gothic just became a completely different game. Suddenly, experience is no longer a precious commodity. Most of the enemies I've been running in fear of are now one-shots, which means all the paths of the game just changed from 100-meter dashes to complete slaughterhouses. And more kills doesn't just mean more XP, it also means more monster loot. And more monster loot means more money. But we'll spend that in a minute. For now, I turn in the egg to Kor Kalam, who says it's full of the ichor that they need for their drug trip. And he's so pleased that he invites me to attend their ritual tonight. You know what? Sure, why not? I'll try anything once. Huh, tastes like strawberries. Ugh, and migraines. Oh no, I should not have drank that.
I see you.
Good God, was that hell? I think I just went to hell. Oh, that can't be good. So, turns out Iberian is dead. But we all know how well cults handle a power vacuum, so I'm sure they'll be fine. While they try to figure out what to do, though, they've asked me to follow one of their more devout members, who ran off to an old orc graveyard. Sounds fun? Spoiler alert, much fun was had. Just not by me. But remember how I said I had a lot more monster loot now because of our increase in power? I think it's time we cashed in that check, don't you? And after selling all the useless weapons and monster materials I was carrying, we've got just enough to upgrade all of my armor, giving me a whopping 68% damage resistance to everything except arrows and magic. That's up from 10% by the way. Wow, that's much more stylish. But style is only half the battle. How's it fare in the other half? I'm not sure if I should be elated or depressed right now. Can I be both? Is there a word for that? Well damn. Between running around with 10 strength and what equates to basically 0 armor for hours on end, I really made this a lot harder on myself than I needed to, huh? I mean, look at this. I'm the human equivalent of a tank. What the hell was I doing for the last 24 hours? Don't get me wrong, it wasn't for nothing. All that painfully earned experience makes fighting enemies a breeze now. I just wish I had gotten to this point a little faster. But there's no time to mourn time loss. We've got quests to complete. And judging by this bow I just found lying around, I have a sneaking suspicion this is a puzzle. Yep. Score 1 for the old noggin. What? Don't look at me like that. Pickaxe only applies to killing enemies, not solving puzzles. You get those pedantic semantics out of here. I put more orcs in the orc graveyard, grave rob a bunch of dead orcs, and steal their burial medallions, which might have just damned their souls to hell or something. And after leading many an orc on a merry chase, I slowly but surely whittled down the groups of orcs patrolling the graveyard and meet up with the cultist who ran off, finding him in a mural room depicting the orcs summoning the sleeper and dead humans left in his wake.
This is your fault.
Oh boy.
He's calling me to him, but it's not enough. He wants a show of faith, a sacrifice, and then he will reveal himself to me.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. For those of you who don't know much about doomsday cults, this is called forcing the end. Basically, when members of said cult become disillusioned by the fact that doomsday hasn't happened, usually despite multiple prophesized dates for doomsday coming and going, members suddenly form a new belief where it was actually their responsibility all along to bring about the circumstances for doomsday to occur. A bit different in this context, since the cultists were hoping for physical freedom from the barrier, but still metaphorically the end of this current world. Just a fun bit of trivia for you to use at parties. That's a joke. Please don't talk about doomsday cults at parties. Definitely relevant here though. I bring back news of the murals, and while some of the leaders of the swamp camp believe me, most of them do not, choosing to interpret the murals in a way that's favorable to their established beliefs, and immediately shaming anyone who doesn't do the same as a heretic or non-believer, an outsider, someone to be shunned from the community. I'm sorry if that's a bit too real or hits too close to home for anyone out there. Brainwashing is a terrible thing, and just know that asking questions and gathering multiple sources when trying to determine the truth of the world around you is always a valid and respectable action. Okay? Okay. Anywho, Chapter 3, Artifacts of Ancient Power. And with Chapter 3 comes the ability to finally join the Wardens at Old Camp. All we gotta do is protect an incoming shipment from New Camp's thugs. A task I perform with great enthusiasm. Take that, rebel scum! And with that done, we're officially a Warden of the castle, which means two things just unlocked: Warden armor and the ability to get trained for two-handed weapons. What's this? Christmas in June? Alright, if you insist. Now then, let's see what we've got. It's a bit lighter than I thought it would be. Figures. Looks like we need to upgrade our armor if we want to sport the plate mail. Luckily for me, the merchants in town have been saving up their ore the last few days, and now I have boatloads of orcish weapons and monster materials to sell. Just enough to upgrade all the pieces of my armor to their maximum, giving me 72% defense. Not as high as I was expecting number-wise, but you can't deny that our cosmetic game is off the charts. And with the start of a new chapter, that means there's entire swarms of new enemies out there for me to murder. It's a good day. We've got a couple new ones added to the fray as well, but as far as I'm concerned, that just means more XP. Wait a minute, where am I? This isn't the main quest. Oh hey Tony, didn't see you there. Oh geez, I didn't crash your family reunion, did I? My bad, buddy, I just got turned around. Okay, back on track. I was supposed to go to New Camp to meet up with the water mages. From what I can understand, while Old Camp has given up escaping the barrier and Swamp Camp has gone completely Looney Tunes, New Camp and their mages have been stocking up ore from the mines in hopes that they can get enough to eventually blow up the barrier itself. Sounds like a good time. You know what else is a good time? This water mage's inventory. My guy here is selling all sorts of rings and amulets, many of which are upgraded versions of what I have that give you strength boosts, which means my strength just shot up to 95. That's some good eating right there. Upgrades aside, I find the head water mage, and he sends me off to find 4 more focus stones. Along with the one that I already have, the water mages hope that combining their power with the ore pile they have will be enough to blow up the barrier. But first, an important side quest. I won't bore you with the details, but there's an NPC that lives outside of Old Camp. And if you gather up 5 Kingstide plants from the bottom of a lake, 3 wolf pelts from a freshly killed den of wolves, and 2 leather straps that can be bought from merchants, you can then bother this NPC.
About the scavengers.
Not a chance.
About the scavengers.
Drop it.
Hey, about the scavengers.
You don't give up, do you?
Nope.
Then just wait until the next day, and he'll give you a fun whistle. What's it do? Oh, nothing. Just summons a rideable death chicken. This thing is amazing. Look how fast you move. You can even pet it. 10 out of 10. 12 out of 10. Pickaxe out of 10. Right then. With that out of the way, it's time to go to the 4 remaining focus points to collect the stones at each location. Video too long, didn't watch? Each location has a mini-boss or challenge you need to complete in order to reach the stone. And while normally I'd be concerned with things like individual strategies and figuring out weak points in a boss's attack patterns, the reality is that we've somehow over-leveled, and our build is strong enough to withstand whatever the game throws at us at this point in time. Because not only do I have amazing strength and defense, but I've also taken the time to master two-handing, which means parries, ripostes, and combos are now on the menu. And because levels are now plentiful, and I don't have any intention of leveling up dexterity or magic, I decided to spend my remaining points on things like underwater breath capacity, master lockpicking, and the ability to climb certain walls. In any case, with the 5 focus stones gathered, the water mages send me to the fire mages at Old Camp to ask for their help, since they're worried that without the combined power of both mage camps, they won't be able to contain the magical blast they're about to create. Unfortunately for us, when the fire mages tell him of their intention to head to New Camp to help out, Gomez takes this as an act of betrayal, and kills all but one of them. So yeah, that plan isn't going to work anymore. Thanks for nothing, Gomez. Now we can't escape, and I'm no longer allowed in Old Camp. But there's still hope, because the water mages told me there is one more fire mage out there. One of the strongest, banished to the Orclands years ago for practicing necromancy. That's fun, he sounds fun. Oh look, he has an enslaved demon guarding his tower entrance. This guy, I'm telling you. So, good news, bad news. The good news is that the demon wants me to kill 3 golems and bring back their hearts. Do that, and he'll let me into the tower to see Xardus the Fire Mage. Additional good news, all the golems have very simple movesets, so once you find a pattern that works, you can kill them pretty easily. The bad news is that the golems are resistant to edge damage, which, those of you who remember the beginning might recall, is the one type of damage that we can do. Hope you're ready to go back to 10-minute fights, because that's what's happening. Even worse, the ice golem has a second phase, where 3 mini ice golems pop out of the ice and assist it, shooting little pellets at you that do a lot of damage and cause the frozen status. Now, I've been wailing on these little golems for upwards of 20 swings now, and they're still standing strong, which means they're either immune to edge damage, or they just have as much health as the boss. Not a good time no matter how you slice it. But fun fact about the golems, if you drag the boss golem to the entrance of his arena, he can't quite enter the tunnel, and his body is so bulky that all the projectiles his minions shoot hit him instead, which means you are free to start your damage cycle. Figuring out that strategy took an hour of work, by the way. You're welcome. And with the golem hearts gathered, the demon gives me a teleportation crystal for the tower's balcony that we can use at any time.
I have the power!
Aw man, all the power did was teleport me to this crusty old dude. Zardes here tells me that the water mage's plan won't work, even if he did join them, but warns us that the sleeper is very real and a threat to both humans and orcs alike. He also sells summoning spells. Skeleton only run, I call it. That one's mine! But with the knowledge that all the races of the world are in danger, Zardes teaches me Orcish 101 so I can go talk to an orc shaman. One that was also banished by his tribe because he dared to speak out against the common narrative and tell the orcs that the sleeper would kill everyone, not just the humans. Seems to be a lot of that going around, huh? No time to consider the similarities between orcs and humans though. We've got several great beasts to slay. According to orcish tradition, if we're able to collect the tongue of a great fire lizard in the desert, the horn of a great shadow beast from the caves of the forest, the tusks of a great troll from the northern mountains, and the teeth from a swamp shark mother in the swamps, we can then create the Ulu Mulu, an orcish staff that shows your prowess as a warrior. Walk up to an orc enclave with that in hand, and they'll let you through the gates. Complete side note, but I also bumped into a guy named Wolf who had a great idea to carve up some mine crawlers and use their armor to make some plate mail. Well, I mean, he wants me to carve up some crawlers, but still, plate mail. One moment, please. Come here, you eight-legged freak. Taste the bite of my steel and my foot up your... But with the great beast slain and my new plate mail on layaway, it's time to approach the Orc Enclave, home of the Sleeper's Temple and final stop of this journey. Chapter 5, The Custodians of the Portal. I'm challenged to a duel by an orc when I enter the Enclave, a choice he probably regrets right about now, and seen by their highest-ranking shaman, who says she saw me in a dream and believes I'm important enough to bring to the Sleeper's Temple. Because despite the orcs actively trying to summon the Sleeper, they can't actually access it. The temple is surrounded by a magic barrier that only an anti-magic item can pass through. And guess who still has an anti-magic amulet? And so begins my adventures in the Sleeper's Temple. This took several hours, but I'll give you the cliff notes. Kill Tony and his 47 brothers, solve a turning pillar puzzle, use the solution you get from that to solve a different turning pillar puzzle, re-kill Tony's other 47 brothers, solve a relatively simple pipe puzzle and make the big skulls on the wall cry with delight, kill a fire demon while dodging its spicy breath attacks, even more turning pillar puzzles, fight a watermelon flavored demon lord, a lemon flavored demon lord, and a cherry flavored demon lord, and use their souls to open a soul bridge to the center of the cavern where an undead orc shaman waits for you. And while he does hit hard, considering I have basically no magic defense whatsoever, we hit pretty hard too. And despite it taking a fleet of demons to get here, this boss is actually pretty easy. And once he's dead, we can claim our prizes. A gem, a rune of magic I can't use, and what I can only assume is either the best sword in the game or a child's nightlight. Could go either way. Verdict's still out, but either way, it's not a pickaxe. Ah well, basically garbage, sell to the nearest merchant. Or we could charge it up with legendary gemstones and use its power to send the Sleeper back to hell. That works too, I guess. How many gemstones do we need? 5? I only found 1!
Then go back to the temple and find them. They must be down there somewhere.
Okay, fine. So remember how that one orc shaman boss felt a bit too easy? Yeah, that's because there's 4 more of them. Basically, 1 for each element. Maybe. I'll be honest, it all kind of blends together at this point. All I know is there's 5 total, and they're all pretty easy. And even though they all have different spells that act as their specialty, they don't use them if you stay in melee range. So the only thing you need to do is dodge their staff attack. In fact, only the blue shaman gave me any trouble, and that was because he summoned demons to help him out. They were only lesser demons, so they do minuscule damage, but they were still annoying to get rid of. And with all 5 gemstones now acquired, Zardes combines them with the sword we found earlier, and informs us that in order to fully recharge its power, we're going to need to feed it some more. That giant pile the water mages have been collecting for the last decade should suffice. I'm sure they'll understand. Also, real quick, can we just enjoy the fact that Zardes basically speaks to the player every time he talks?
How about a different armor? Like a robe?
What would you want with that? You're a fighter.
It can't hurt.
Well, glad you have so much time to spare. It's not like we have a demon to stop.
But with the 4th wall broken beyond repair, it's time. It's time to recharge my legendary sword and create a weapon that can destroy the Sleeper. Or at the very least, close the doorway it intends to come through. Still not a pickaxe, but it's definitely getting closer. And so begins the 6th and final chapter, the Sleeper's Halls. I make a quick stop at Wolf's place to pick up my armor, which is absolutely hideous by the way, then say goodbye to my death chicken, as something tells me this will be the last time I see her. Back into the temple we go, where the barrier is mysteriously down. That can't be good. Oh, the cultists are here. I guess they finally made contact with the Sleeper through their dream drugs and forced their way into the temple. Shame I'm in a hurry, otherwise I'd kill them all. Maybe next time. But with no time to spare, I find the final room and plunge my second-rate pickaxe into the doorway to break inside, where the sleeper lurks, already halfway through a portal to our world, simply waiting for the final sacrifices to be made so that he may enter our plane of existence. Well, we can't have that. Time to interrupt this little ritual. I'll stop you and... Good night, world. And so begins the final gauntlet. A series of cascading dreams that have us fighting enemies and bosses on repeat. Every time we escape a dream, we get a little bit closer to defeating the sleeper, using our second-rate pickaxe to cut through one of the 4 hearts keeping the sleeper anchored to this plane. I push my way through orcs, a reincarnated minecrawler queen, a twisted version of Diego, who is incredibly fast but still susceptible to a downward swing after he performs a long combo, a very Thor-like Goron, who uses the power of lightning on his axe to increasingly limit the arena, slowly turning the entire thing into a chip damage ring of electricity, a puzzle boss against Milton, where you have to get him to shoot fire spells into the nearby braziers, which activates a flame trap and burns him alive, and a simple beatdown against Lester, who has wind magic and tries to knock you into the swamp around you, which is swarming with swamp sharks. And at the end, a twisted version of Zardas, which summons skeleton minions out of the towers that he perches on, and then proceeds to shoot flame spells at you while you destroy them. And once you've destroyed all 3 of the remaining hearts, Kor Kalam's ritual fails and he plunges into the depths of the fire below, where he is immediately reincarnated as the Mad Demon, the final boss of the entire game. So, let's talk strategy. The Mad Demon has a breath attack, which is very hard to avoid at long range, can summon a barrage of hands that attack from the ground, an explosion attack that hits everything around him in a small radius, and some basic claw attacks. And while I struggle incredibly hard with the demon's magic hand attack, good news, you can make it so that he never uses it. Simply stay close to the demon, and he'll never resort to using it. The same can be said about his breath weapon. So long as you're close to him when he starts an attack, he'll always pick melee swipes or the explosion attack. And the solution to both of those is to dodge around him. And that's it. That's the entire boss fight in a nutshell. Just dodge and swing on repeat, and after a few minutes, that's the final boss of the entire game, defeated with nothing more than a pickaxe. Hey Kalam, stick around. And with the 4 hearts anchoring the sleeper to our realm destroyed, and his minion defeated, there's only 1 heart left to destroy. The sleeper's heart itself. Come on, you bastard! Keel over already! I'll kill you if it's the last thing I do!
So be it.
And there you have it. Gothic 1 Remake beaten with only a pickaxe. Our story may be over, but the story of Gothic continues. Now we just have to wait another 25 years for them to remake Gothic 2 and 3. Yep, any day now. Thanks for watching. I hope you had as much fun as I did playing. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this game was an absolute blast to play, and I can't wait to try out new builds and future challenge runs. I also skipped like 80% of the quests and areas in this video, so if you were worried about being spoiled by my video, don't be. There's so much more to do. And who knows, we might even do some of it in future runs. But that's for another time. A big thank you again to THQ Nordic for sponsoring today's video. If you like what you saw and want to play it for yourself, you can buy it now on Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. Link in the description and pinned comment down below. Go and get you some dark fantasy goodness. But other than that, that's all I've got. Take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.